Okay, team, webhooks. So really simple concept. Data sent from one source to another source and passing between the two, hence the name a webhook. Essentially, you can send data and receive data and do stuff with that data. It's sent in a really handy JSON format. Normally, 99 times out of 100, it's sent and received in JSON. So it means it can be easily referenced. All right, enough talking. Let's see it in action. We have got just a basic form set up here, and I've filled that form out, and we've got a webhook set up in make.com. Now, as soon as I press submit, what we're going to see here is I receive that data, and can you see how it's literally instant? And that's a really important concept versus an API call that you'd maybe have to make on a schedule. This I'm getting straight away. And we can see here we've got some data. So we've got first name, surname, email, and would we look at that, it corresponds to fields. And we've also got some other data that's kind of hidden and maybe some hidden fields that form's being passed through. We've got our first example here, which says, take data from the form and enter it in a CRM. Well, now you can see how easy it really is. You just grab that data and map the fields. So for example, if you're using a CRM like Keep or Infusionsoft, you could use a module like create or update a contact, and it's so easy. You just map the fields. It's not a difficult thing. All first name would be first name, surname, etc., email, and just complete the data. You can have dates, etc., etc. So you can add that to the CRM really, really easily and straight away. The next thing we could do is respond via email. So we could use either Keep's email module, we could apply a tag and trigger an automation, or we could use a built-in email, and we could basically create an email. I could send an email module. And again, we just map the fields. So we would just literally map the two fields, use the email address here, and we can send an instantaneous response. Very, very, very basic. If one little tip for you on email response, make it personal. So if you do it straight away, they're going to know it's not personal. One thing you could do is add a delay timer. So you could use the sleep module and add a delay of, say, I don't know, 2.5, 3 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes. And then that way it looks as though you've actually sent that email to them. 5 minutes later, hey, noticed you've filled in a form on our website, would love to chat more. Yeah, really, really easy. And notify the team on Slack. Okay, great. Same thing, right? Just use the Slack module, send a message. So I think it's create a message, create a message, map the fields, use a little bit of, make it look pretty. Again, really, really easy. So just want you to understand data comes in and we do stuff with it. Yeah. So that's example one, that's basic, really, really basic. Example two, so repeater fields. So how we handle a repeater field. So I'm actually going to just edit this form now. I'm going to add a new repeater field. Let's just move it. And we're going to call this field items, and we're going to add 2 blocks. We're going to add 2 text fields. We're going to add item name, and we're going to add item amount. Now, I would validate this data as a number. Let's just move it up. But just for time and speed, I'm just going to keep it how it is. Now, this time when we look at the form, we're going to be provided with an add new. And essentially that means we can add an infinite number of repeater fields. So let's have a look at this time how we receive that data. So let's just run this module once, and let's just call this bananas, and it's 1, 2, 3. Oh God, I can't even spell bananas. Let's call it apples and oranges. And this one is 1, 2. Yeah. So we can add multiple repeater fields, but let's just see how that data appears in our webhook this time. All right, so we've got the same data as before, and now we've got this item section that says array, okay? And we've got the two that we added to the repeater field. Now, if I map that as I was doing before, I'm only gonna get the first item. So when you're using a repeater field, what we have to do here is use an iterator, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the items, press OK, and that's then going to give me all of those bundles. And let's just show you that so it's a little bit more realistic. I've got this spreadsheet set up here with item name and item cost. So I'm just going to add a Google Sheets, add a row module. And as I'm setting this up, I want you to tell me how many rows you think this is going to add. All right, how many rows you think this is going to add. Let's just map item name, item cost. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same thing again. We're looking at our spreadsheet. How many rows do you think it's going to add? Let's see. So we've got apples and we've got oranges. All right, we press submit. 1 second. Let's have a look. So we got, and well done. If you got 2, 2 is the right answer because the iterator split that array into the number of items that were in there, and we now have 2 items added to our spreadsheet. Yeah, so have a little look at how the data comes through, and you can get quite advanced with this stuff. But essentially, we can handle repeater fields very, very easily by using the iterator module. Yeah. Okay, final example I'm going to give you, and that's receiving data. We're now going to look at how we send data. Okay. So this time I'm going to get rid of these. This time we're going to run this once. This time we've got a Google Docs set up, and we've got some very important meeting notes. So I want to imagine you've been in a meeting, you've recorded the notes, and then you want to send those notes, or you want to take those notes and store them in Dropbox or Google Drive or some file sharing. You want to email it to someone, you want to send it on Slack, you want to store it in whatever. You want to take that data, and you don't want to do that manually because that is not a good use of your time. So it's just a tiny bit more complicated. I'm going to include this code in the description, but essentially we're going to use Google Apps Script. And the only thing you need to do is change this to your webhook URL. So I'm just going to take this URL from the webhook, and I'm going to replace the add URL here, and I'm just going to pop that in there. All right. I'm then going to copy this. Don't worry, this will be in the description, but I'm going to then copy this, head over to my document, hit extensions app script. I'm then going to paste that in there. I'm going to give it a name and make it look all tidy, but just for speed, I'm going to save it. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to refresh this. Now, when it fully loads, I'm going to see a menu item appear here. There we go. And it's going to give me the option to submit the document. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to take this document, it's going to take the document ID and send it to my webhook. All right, so first time you run this, you're going to have to authorize it. So let's just do that quickly. And then let's just run this once. Let's wait for new data. So here we go. So we're going to go submit document. I'm going to get a little message come up saying that the meeting notes have been submitted. And now look, we've got a document ID. Now, the smart thing we can do here then is use a Google Docs, download a document. We can then map that ID, and we can then download it. We could download it as a PDF, as a Word document, and then think about it. We can upload it, we can save it, we can share it, we can do so much with it as opposed to manually doing that. And I wonder how many businesses out there at the moment are manually sending meeting notes out, are manually attaching this, or have a person doing this. Well, if you're smart here, you can do that yourself. All right, so that's how we can send data to a webhook. Finally, I just want to kind of wrap up here and say, if you're not using webhooks to do stuff within Google Docs, within forms, you're doing something wrong. This should be in every single business. So good luck. Let me know how you get on, and hope this makes it simple.